Okay, so you're a great writer and you love science, but maybe you have zero professional experience in the medical world, and you're wondering, can I actually break in? Well, the answer is a big yes, and we're about to give you the exact roadmap to make it happen. You know that question you type into Google late at night? How do I get into medical writing with no experience? We've all been there. You scroll through these vague articles, you see entry-level jobs that are asking for 3 to 5 years of experience, and it feels totally impossible. And let's be real for a second. If you feel like the industry is kind of gatekeepy, like it's designed to keep people out, well, that feeling makes sense. It's full of jargon, and it seems to demand all these credentials you might not have. But here's the secret, and really the whole point of this explainer. The field is way more accessible than it looks. I'm telling you, people with backgrounds just like yours break in every single year. So, how are we going to do it? Here's the game plan. First, we're going to pick your writing track so you can focus your energy. Then, we'll build the exact skills and portfolio that's going to get you noticed. After that, we'll cover the strategy to actually get seen and get hired. And finally, we'll map out what to expect in your first year so you can really succeed. Let's dive in. All right, first things first, and this is a big one that a lot of beginners totally miss. You have to understand that medical writer isn't just one job. Nope. It's really an umbrella term for a bunch of pretty different career paths. And picking a lane early on, that is the key to focusing all your efforts. So, this slide lays out your main options perfectly. On one end, you've got regulatory writing. This is the super technical stuff. We're talking dense, structured documents for government bodies like the FDA. It's definitely the hardest one to break into from scratch. Then in the middle, you have medical communications, or medcoms. This is a fantastic on-ramp for beginners. And finally, there's health content. This is the most accessible of all, focused on things like patient blogs and educational materials. The choice you make here is going to define your entire strategy. Okay, so you've got a track in mind. Now we get to the most important part of this whole process. I mean it. We're talking about building the non-negotiable toolkit of skills and writing samples that will actually get you in the door. And this brings us to it. The number one question that holds people back. Do I really need a PhD? Do I need a fancy life sciences degree to even have a chance? It's a fear that stops so many talented writers before they even get started. So let me just give you the straight answer here. For that super technical regulatory writing, yeah, a science degree is a huge help. But for medcoms and health content, your ability to write clearly and cleanly is what truly matters most. You can learn the science. What a hiring manager is really looking for is someone who can take complex information and turn it into precise, readable prose on a deadline. That's a writing skill, not a lab skill. So where do you start learning all this stuff? Right here. Seriously, take a few weeks and just dive into these free resources. Use Medline Plus to get the terminology down. Go to clinicaltrials.gov to see how studies are actually designed, because that's the language of the industry. And make sure you learn the IMRAD structure. That's Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. It is the absolute backbone of pretty much every scientific paper you'll ever touch. Okay, once you've got that basic knowledge down, you have to prove you can actually use it. This slide shows you the 3 essential samples you need to create. A patient education article shows you can make complex ideas simple. A lay summary of a clinical trial proves you can handle the raw data. And a disease overview piece, that signals you can do the deep, evidence-based work that agencies need. And listen, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Do not skip this step. So many people do, and it's why they never hear back. A portfolio is not a nice to have. It is the only thing that proves you can do the job. I promise you 3 killer samples will get you way more attention than a perfect resume ever could. All right, your toolkit is built. You've got the knowledge, you've got the samples. Now for the fun part. Let's get strategic and figure out how to get you seen by the right people and actually land that first job. We're going to start with something so simple, but so powerful. This slide just says it all. Your LinkedIn headline is the very first thing recruiters see. Changing it from something passive, like recent graduate, to something active and intentional, like medical writer, science communicator, well, that immediately tells them who you are and makes you show up in their searches. So where are you going to point that shiny new profile? Don't just spray applications at big pharma companies. Your best bet, truly, are medcoms agencies. They are built from the ground up to train new writers. Also, look at what are called contract research organizations, or CROs. They often have these dedicated associate medical writer programs that are just perfect for beginners. Okay, so you did it. You applied, you interviewed, you landed the job. That's huge. But the journey is just getting started. Let's talk about what to realistically expect in your first year, because knowing what's coming is going to help you navigate it like a pro. Look, the first 6 months are going to feel like drinking from a fire hose. The learning curve is steep, and that's okay. It's totally normal. You're going to be a little slow, you're going to have a million questions, but if you just stick with it, something amazing happens. Things start to click. You'll start to recognize patterns, the jargon will become second nature, and the work starts to feel less like you're translating a foreign language and more like you're just fluent. And while you're on that steep curve, I can promise you, you are going to feel this. You'll be staring at some incredibly complex scientific paper, and a little voice in your head will go, "Who on earth let me in here?" Every single medical writer, even the most seasoned ones, feels this. It's not a sign you don't belong. It's a sign that you're growing. One last practical tip. People always ask about certifications, like the ones from AMWA, the American Medical Writers Association. And here's the deal. They're valuable, for sure, but they are not a substitute for a portfolio. So here's the golden rule. Build your portfolio first, land the job, and then go get certifications to level up your career. So let's bring it all home. This is your 5-step launch sequence. Number 1, pick a track. 2, build that foundational knowledge. 3, create your 3 core samples. Remember, this is the most important step. 4, optimize that LinkedIn profile. And 5, target the right employers. Go for the agencies and CROs first. The path from zero experience to a working medical writer is absolutely real, and you've literally got the map right here. So, the only question left is, what's your first move going to be?